Welcome to Remembering the Life and Legacy of the Black Panther Chadwick Boseman panel at Afro Comic Con Virtual 2020 event. And thank you for joining us. Please consider donating to the Afro Comic Con /Moonshot Junior program that funds young girls of color to go through a 12-month program where they learn tech skills, innovation, product development, and entrepreneurship. Please click the donation link. Any amount will help. More information will be available on the website. So let's get into it. Let me introduce my panelist, Eric Gordon, host of the Southside Dash radio show, The World According to Eric, entrepreneur and resident at GSU CMII, and owner of Eggplant Sweats. Let me introduce Andre Brooks, writer on The Boondocks, co-host of The World According to Eric on Southside Dash Radio, and owner of Valentine Weight Loss and Wellness Center. And finally, Taye Samuels, owner of Sweatshop Boxing, host of the Atlanta premiere of Black Panther. So, gentlemen, how are y'all doing today?
Good, thank you.
Awesome.
I'm feeling great. Thank you for asking.
So let's get straight into it. Recently, it's been said that Marvel / Disney is going to go the Star Wars Princess Leia route of using never before seen deleted footage and a mix of CGI to place Chadwick Boseman into Black Panther 2 to explain why he will not be present in the rest of the movie. Is that a good move? Is that doing honor to the legacy that he has left behind?
I mean, I think everything in film and TV is about execution. So if they can execute it right, it's okay, but it's going to be hard to see how they could do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, in your experience, what is the process? Is it a difficult process getting all that together? Do you have to sign forms from the family? Is there release forms? What goes into it?
I mean, I'm sure his estate could figure out that part of it in terms of, because that's just economic, right? The issue will be you are now, instead of having the freedom as a writer to just write whatever you want, mm-hmm. You're writing to what is possible from a technology standpoint. And you're kind of, I call it forcing it. That's how I look at it. But again, I mean, writers are talented and can do it. But I still just believe you're always better when you can write whatever you want.
I think it's creepy. And I think that they have to move on correctly. There is a storyline, which I was telling people before, when we were talking about mapping out Black Panther 1 through 4, I said at one point, Shuri becomes the Black Panther. And so to see that happening sooner rather than later, happens. I believe Black Panther gets injured and then he's missing and then she has to take on the role, etc. I think it also passes down at one point to a cousin or a family member. And I know there was one part where a cousin was extremely jealous and he was trying to take over the mantle. There's so many different ways. We haven't even seen Nakia turning into a villain. We haven't seen which happens in the storylines. We haven't seen M'Baku or Man-Ape turn into one of his arch nemesis. So there's so many different things you can do. We haven't seen Madam Slay yet. There's so many different things that can happen in that world. I think they need to move on gracefully and tragically, quite honestly. If he is involved in this new universe, it needs to show him passing away, protecting Wakanda. That's, you know what I'm saying? And the mantle needs to be changed.
So your idea is, put somebody in the suit, have that individual in the suit kind of perish in battle defending Wakanda.
Yeah, I think look, anything with him speaking is just going to be creepy. Yeah. I mean, I remember when they first started using that technology. Well, when I first started noticing they use the technology in the movie Gladiator, was it Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
And that dude had passed away. The guy who was a slave owner, he was dead when they filmed those scenes. Mm-hmm. And then I saw it again in The Sopranos with the mom.
Yeah.
And it was creepy then. And then I saw it again with Paul Walker. It just don't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. And then the magnitude of his death, look, I remember when the trailer came out, the trailer said, I think it was Variety or Hollywood Reporter said, 90 million views in 24 hours with no A-list celebrities, which was offensive in itself, right? Because there was a whole bunch of A-list celebrities. And there's a whole bunch of Black A-list celebrities too. So that was offensive. But to see the magnitude of his death, the shock of his death, and the specials that correlated with his death, and to see films that are coming on that happened before he died, that he filmed before he died, you just got to leave it alone. That was one of the biggest grossing movies of all time. You got to
I just say, even if they wanted to keep the storyline the same and have Black Panther exist, we've seen multiple 007s. We've seen other, people be the same fictional character. I think, humans don't have to, we can mentally adjust, and it doesn't have to be Chadwick Boseman. It's terrible. That was definitely a signature role. He'll never be forgotten. But from a story standpoint, you could have someone else do it. I've even thought about, this is my own weird thing, being like, let Killmonger, maybe he didn't really die and he can be Black Panther. And I think people would like that.
Right. I was talking about a transitional period. Go ahead, Ty. You go say.
I think we need transition and closure. Being a father of a Black child who this is their first Black superhero, period, there has to be some kind of closure, because the question is, when you go to the movie theater, is that we don't have a lot of Black superheroes. The ones we have, seem to get, checked out. So for my daughter, she needs closure. She needs to know it can't just go away. I don't know how you do it. I'm not sure what the methodology is. But I think we need closure. Me personally, I want closure, and closure could be as both you described, a transition to another character. There's so many ways it can go, and for the average person, the average kid, right, up to 18, they don't really have an understanding of the full universe of Black Panther, right? So some people is the first time seeing a Black superhero in a Black place with magic for the very first time. For my daughter being one, she's like, yo, where do we go from here? And who's going to save us? That's her conversation right now. So for me, I don't know. Like, you guys have very, very good insight into how. But for me, speaking for myself and mine, we got to have some kind of closure. It has to be good. And a dope female superhero taking over in a way, or getting mantle passed to her would be incredible, especially in these times.
Right. When you talk about closure, I think that and I hate to say, like, oh, my idea is correct. I think you're absolutely right. I think when you said, nobody's, the kids haven't seen a Black place, Black superhero, Black magic. Hell, we haven't seen a Black superhero, right. Black magic. And so my first foray into comics, before anything, was a comic of very little. Well, it's a well-known comic book in some circles called Brother Man. I don't know if you ever heard of this.
No one's heard of it. It sounds like he has 2 pit bulls and a 40. Okay.
I've heard of it.
Right.
I heard of it, but I was collecting comic books. My mother gave me that comic book because I had all these other comic books with, Spider-Man and all these people. So yeah, I definitely had Brother Man.
Yeah. So that's my first foray into comics. My dad, that's the first thing he got me. When I opened my Christmas gifts, it was from Black Santa. That's what it said, from Black Santa. So I've been raised in this space, for a very long time. So that's why, after Brother Man, I had the reissue of Luke Cage, number 1 through 15. That was my understanding. And so I'm fortunate to have an acquaintance that was, auditioning for both of those roles, Luke Cage and Black Panther. I think that having Shuri play, stay true to the comic book realm, and her taking over for one movie is great. I think that she should hand off the mantle after that one movie, to somebody else they deem worthy. Not because we can't have a Black woman as a superhero. I don't want to hear that. I'm just like, Black Panther's a man, just shift it back over, do that transition. Much like we have multiple Peter Parkers, right? We had Tobey Maguire playing Peter Parker. Then we had the other dude playing Peter Parker because they're coming from two different storylines. The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
The one thing I thought out though after Taye just mentioned closure is that it is important. I mean, I think as adults we're used to being able to, you know, have mental gymnastics and switch characters and that sort of thing. I hadn't thought about it from that side, and I do think it would be important for kids to see a little bit of Chadwick Boseman. He didn't have to speak. He could be, you know, it could be Black Panther in a suit, but something to signal that transition to the kids. Because I mentioned the thing about 007, and that's a 40-something-year-old franchise that we're used to them switching the actor on us. So we're like, oh, okay, we're James Bond. But this one is different. And I mean, like you said, Eric, we have never seen a black superhero at that production level.
Right.
Think about this. Sorry, think about this. Whenever they switch James Bond, right, there's always a conversation go along with it. It's always like, who's being selected,
right? And
can they do it? And they warm us up to it. But for a child, it's like, you know, kids, it's like, what the heck? What? Who? So there has to be some way to transition out of it, because for me, when I was younger, and I remember the first time in my mind they switched James Bond, I was like, oh, come on, man, this is not James Bond. This isn't Roger Moore. What are we doing? Like, what's this? So that was what I was saying. It's a great point. The franchise is old. This one is new, pretty much. You know what I mean? And right. Chadwick Boseman was the guy, and then this has been a crazy ass year. Excuse my language. So we need a win, and we need a transitional win ASAP going into 2021.
So you guys all kind of mentioned carrying the legacy. Who are your picks if they were to recast or, you know, transition the character into another character who has the title of Black Panther? Who's got the stuff to pick it up?
Can you ask that a question again? I want to make sure that people know what you're asking.
So I'm asking, who would you pick to take the title of Black Panther, whether it be a new character or continuing the role of T'Challa?
Well, okay, it's a new. I think it's going to be a new character. Mm-hmm. Shuri's obviously going to play Black Panther, the first movie. But who I think honestly should take over is Lance Gross, and I'll tell you why. I think Lance Gross fits the mode physically perfectly. I think he's talented. If you push him, I think he can really pull it off. And I'll tell you what. I have old comic books from Black Panther that when Black Panther was about to get married, all of the Marvel superhero ladies lined up. All of them, from Jean Grey to She-Hulk to Storm, all the way down. Black Panther was that dude, literally. Lance is a handsome guy. Lance fits the athletic build of this man. I mean, to a T. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, you know, if you push him acting-wise, he can do it. They created their own dialect, you know what I'm saying, which is a fusion of all dialects, right? I don't think, you know what I'm saying, I think about a good 6 months dialect coach, he'd be fine. I just think he would fit it perfectly. Him, we have, I don't know if we had this discussion, Andre. Him or the brother from Bird Box.
Probably should see Bird Box. You know I'm a hater, so
I gotta watch it again.
The swole dude, he's a swole dude from Bird Box.
Yeah, hater,
he was also on Moonlight. Trevante Rhodes.
Okay,
yeah, hater, man. I'm a hater, bro. Okay, it takes a while for me to see stuff. I like the Killmonger idea only because you've seen him before. You've seen his powers. It's kind of the bad guy turned good, and
right.
Seeing the light story. Him and Ryan Coogler work well together. He is a star. Like, people are gonna go see it just for him, and everyone loved the Killmonger character.
Oh yeah, there's a guy who named his GroupMe screen name. His GroupMe screen name is Killmonger Was Right. I think, but you got to understand, in that world, right? Killmonger he's like the Penguin to Black Panther's Batman, right? Ulysses Claw is like the Joker to Black Panther. Do you understand? It's Batman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you'd have to have this juxtaposition like, okay, well, does he just do this 180? Because Killmonger really was not rocking with that situation. And we haven't seen the evolution of Nakia. Do you understand? Who ends up being a villain.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
I think Killmonger is actually good because Killmonger wasn't that far away. It was like this nature versus nurture thing.
Yep.
And so he was all about kind of his people. But his thing was, why aren't you looking out for those people over there, the people that don't have? Why aren't they involved? And I think with a conversation in terms of how we love Killmonger in these times, he's the type of dude who's like, listen, we're not taking nothing from nobody. Y'all ain't coming over here with that garbage. And he's a star. The only thing with Les Gross is that I don't know if he has the acting chops to pull it off. Like physically, his physique and everything, but the acting chops to pull off that character. And then the other thing is to the accent. Like Forrest Whitaker was the clown for now a challenge of the Black Panther. Like he has to pull off. He can't like he is the perfect joke for listen, bro, you have enough dialect coaching, you have enough acting coaching. What accent is that? So for me, Lance is my
Scotland accent.
Lance is my man, but can he pull off after Chadwick?
I think he can. And I
he's a bison. HU. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Keep that tradition alive.
I'll tell you why, bro. People need to understand, for all intents and purposes, Black Panther was that guy. I think Lance had an amazing opportunity to get the role before it was decided. I'm telling you right now, I have a supreme belief. And we know Lance, right? I know that. And I'm not saying this because I'm cheerleading for him. I'm saying this because I love that comic book. I'm very well aware of this comic book. When Lance was up for Luke Cage, I knew he was up for Luke Cage. And I said, no, that don't fit. I wanted him to get it. I was going to get the hat, the jacket. I was going to be on set. I was going to sneak my way, like Bills, put me in there. But I knew that once they told me who he was up against, I said, it's done. It was done. I was hoping, I knew he was done once I knew who he was up against because that fit the comic book mold. Like, oh boy from New Edition movies should be playing Sammy Davis Jr. Mm-hmm. I think very strongly either Lance or Trevante Noah, right? Trevante what? Javante Rhodes should be Black Panther. It should be up to those two in some shape or form. Yeah. And I get what you're saying because Forrest Whitaker came with the last King of Scotland accent. Will Smith came with the Men in Black universe. Universal, you know what I'm saying? Accent. I'm like, what is this?
They probably just showed up like we're shooting on the third. They was like, I'm here.
They watched a few Nollywood movies.
Right,
like,
yeah.
I can do that.
So, gentlemen,
one quick thing though, I just also think you don't have to stick to the comic book story,
right?
Like, I mean, Marvel shoots off, and Ryan Coogler's take on it with the whole East Oakland thing. You know what I'm saying? It's about high school. Don't even worry about all that. But you can shift the movie's so big, it's its own franchise. The movie's worlds bigger than the comic book.
Yeah. Look, man.
So, I'm sorry, Eric.
No, I was just telling you, look, I got Black Panther everywhere. I got Black Panther on the wall. I got Black Panther everywhere. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Nike Wakanda soccer jersey.
I was gonna sit in my Wakanda throne, but I can't get good lighting in there. So
man, I was wondering where it was. So Eric, you are quoted as saying in Grayson Perry's Big American Road Trip that Atlanta is the real life Wakanda, right? My question is, leading up to the film, what was the atmosphere like in Atlanta? Was there anticipation? Was there angst?
Okay, I'll break it down real quick so everybody else can speak. Because Ty was there lockstep with me. I'm gonna tell you like this. I told people, specifically white people, that Black Panther would do $1 billion before they understood what it was. And they couldn't understand what I was talking about. And I said, you don't understand. The closest thing we've had to this is Blade. And at that time, social media didn't exist. And let's be honest here. Blade is the reason why the Marvel universe exists. Don't let anybody tell you differently. The success of Blade.
True story. True story.
The success of Blade and what Wesley Snipes did with that character is the whole reason we have a Black Panther to this day.
I heard he originally tried to get Black Panther done.
That's right.
And
back in the 90s, yeah.
But he needs his flowers. But I'll tell you this. Black women in media are the sole reason why Black Panther did so well. And I'll break it down. Some of the most influential media that we have on this planet comes from women that run and own their own Black blogs. From Shade Room to Tea Tenders to Baller Alert to Gossip of the City. Media Takeout is owned by a Black man, but these women drive they drove the enthusiasm for this film. And I said that on the board with the Marvel Pepsi premiere, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. Black women need their just due. When you see CNN, you see pop culture stuff, and you see certain conversations, those are coming from Black women. Those CNN producers are looking at what's trending, and then they are putting that pen to paper and putting it on television. They're just not getting the credit for it. So the reason we had this huge anticipation, why we had this amazing fashion show, and all of a sudden this extreme pride from being from Africa, even though some of us couldn't even find Africa on a map or know what country, or they think Africa is a whole country instead of a continent filled with different countries, is because Black women made going to the movies cool. My parents was up in there dressed, you know what I'm saying? It was insane. So we owe it to those sisters. So that intense feeling, I'm going to go see it 5 times. And every single time at a different theater, it was a different kind of energy. It was magical.
So let me ask you guys a question. Taye and Eric, what was it like getting that phone call saying, hey, we want you guys to be a part of this Atlanta premiere of Black Panther? What did you guys personally feel of being part of such a monumental moment?
Well, you saw the outfit. The outfit was impressed for such an event. Honestly, it was not only an honor, but it was something that you kind of got up for. Like I got up for that. I was excited. I was nervous doing that only because I knew how huge, like Eric said, how huge it was going to be. And then the fact that it was in Atlanta, and the fact that everybody was going to be there. The fact that, as Eric said, the women were driving, but the checks were being cut by the women also, Eric. But just to be involved with that and for it to be that monumental, I spoke to Chadwick, had the pleasure of speaking to him before Black Panther came out, like maybe 8 months before that.
Hey, Taye, can you repeat that last part?
Okay, I'm welcome here. I said, so I had the pleasure of speaking with Chadwick like 8 months before that. And he really gave me perspective on how they were trying to do this movie. So for me, by the time we got to that point, Chadwick had been to one of my parties. I knew it was going to be special. So when I got the call and they were like, hey, we want you to do this hostess. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't even ask about any money. I didn't ask about anything. I got paid, but I didn't ask any questions. Like, hell yeah, you got to do it. What do I need to do? There was actually a conversation that came up because I had posted something about Pepsi about 2 or 3 years ago. When they did the background search, they had, got on me about this comment that I made about Pepsi for Super Bowl. So they were like, hey, listen, they're considering other people because of this comment you made at Super Bowl 2000 and like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, what? I said, let me speak to the people who are involved. Get me on the phone right now and let me explain why I need to do this one. Like nobody else should be doing this, right? So by the time I said that, I sent a text message. In my mind, there was no way that anybody else was going to be involved in terms of hosting it besides me. The cape, you should have a picture of the cape and the outfit that I had got done, which was actually planned out by a phenomenal seamstress. But we worked on that for like 14 to 15 days straight.
Yeah, I was. So I thought I foolishly could compete with Taye's outfit. Me and him had a running bet, like, yo, I'm coming in there clean. I don't think you understand. And you know, I got the call from Monica from M320 Consulting. She's the reason I was even able to do that. And I told Taye, I was like, yeah, I'm coming in there clean. And I did. I went to my boy DB, and he has an amazing shop with authentic, amazing African gear from all over the continent. And I got clean. I mean, I went and bought everything. And then I saw Taye emerge out of the stage, bro. Yo, he had a cape. The collar was up here. I mean,
It was green African print.
Yo, hey, at some point, you just have to accept your losses. But when I got the call, man, I was extremely excited. I lost a few friends for a period of time because I couldn't invite everybody.
Like me, yeah. I wasn't.
Yeah, I invited some people and they were upset, you know what I'm saying? But hey, man, I had people I haven't talked to in years talking about, why don't you invite me to stuff like that? Yo, hey, my guy, we don't hang out. Like, why would I invite you to this? You know, it was some amazing thing, but I had so much fun. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I sat in that chair, when it started, you know, when they show the skyline and then the voices come in, boy, I tell you what, there's only one other movie that I get goosebumps for when it starts like that. And it's kind of weird, but when I hear Luther Vandross's voice on the beginning of House Party, when the New Line Cinema was like, should we do it, dude? I'm like, oh man, it's about to be. So it's just certain things is kind of like, you know, they spark for me, but I was honored to be a part of that. Honored, dog. Honored. I was tripping out.
So this is equally part remembrance of Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, but it's also about Chadwick Boseman, the person. What about him as an individual in the entertainment industry paid forward? Because, you know, he's known for playing historic roles such as Thurgood Marshall, James Brown. What has he done that was impactful to you in those roles?
I mean, to me, first off, he's an actor's actor, you know, where like he takes the craft very seriously, studied it in school, was one of those people that's known what he's wanted to do his whole life, and that adds to it, you know. As it relates to his old roles, again, we hadn't seen signature pieces like that for Black people. I think the way that those roles were written, because they were written by white people who kind of slipped in white saviors in almost all those films, like 42, Get On Up, you know, Marshall, that it watered it down a little bit. But again, we're so starved for imagery, we're so starved for our people in it, that usually we can let those things slide, even though we know what's up. The thinkers do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess my first experience with him was watching the Jackie Robinson story. And then I saw him at Taye's house party. So I can speak to him briefly from meeting him there. And I really met him. Like, we talked, chopped it up, hung out a bit at the party. It was very random seeing him. This is just before, I think it was just after the Comic-Con announcement of him he's going to play Black Panther. So a lot of people didn't know, they knew who he was, you know, in passing, but they didn't know. I was like, hey man, he said, what's up? I said, hey, I know you gonna be Chala. Don't mess this up for us. He started laughing, right? He's like, I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm not gonna mess it up. Went to go get a drink, talk to him a bit. There's a picture floating around where he photobombed a picture I was in. Like, he just photobombed it. You know what I'm saying? And he was just really cool. And he seemed like he was a very even keeled dude. But he turned up, had his good time. He was observing, you know what I'm saying? He was cool. And we spoke about a few different things. And I just couldn't believe he was there. And I was like, yo, y'all don't know Black Panther? Like, what? They didn't know what Black Panther was at the time. So I'm geeking out. Like, yo, Black Panther is at Taye party right now. Y'all tripping, you know? And so this is something very strange. The night he died, because I had never seen Get On Up. And the night he died, Get On Up, I think it was on HBO or Showtime. And I was bored, so I was like, let me go watch this real quick. Let me just watch it. So I'm watching it, And midway through it, you know, we get the text message like, get out, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? This is going to sound, he's like, no disrespect to Leon, the actor who played every professional Black R&B singer, but Chadwick had so much range that he could play every single Black historical figure.
Right.
Regardless of their skin color. We know Thurgood Marshall was light-skinned. Light-skinned as hell. Throw Chadwick in there. He'll be fine. That's how much talent he had. You know? And so I think he was just dope.
And he also went to Howard too. So yeah, I'm saying I don't know if there's a little HU motif running through this thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was dope because like two things. Eric touched on it, but he was, no matter when I saw him, he was like this humble guy. And always when we spoke or when I hear him speak, he would always touch on points that I'd be like, damn, this man is thinking about this. Also, he always stopped to gracefully greet people that he just remembered or didn't know. And then he was around. Like, I came out of a movie theater one time and he was walking out of this movie theater studying another actor and studying this movie. And then what's more important as you look into a lot of his conversation, his interviews, his intent was pure. His intent when it came to his characters was pure. And to take those roles and to not get his just due in taking those roles, you know what I mean? Like he was kind of bubbling for a while. But to develop himself in that way, it made him special. By the time he came to Black Panther, he had a bunch of roles under his belt, but he was still relatively not well known. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like to Eric's point, when he was in the party, it was like, oh, that's that guy on so-and-so. But it still had to click that that was the guy in the party. Some background on him, he actually had a drummer at all of his workout sessions playing a djembe during his workout sessions. So he can get into the character. He had a conversation with Chaka one day, and I was blown away about, he was like, yo, this character is important because it's for my people. So his humility, his intention, and the way he studied his craft, that's what made him, to me, so special. You know what I mean? And we have a lot of content that's finally coming out about his interviews, his conversation, what he thought, how he felt. But he left a serious hole. And let's say this man was going through like a serious health battle for years, right, and never said anything about it. Never mentioned it. People that were close to him didn't even know that he was going through his health battle. So that says a lot about the character of the dude, to me, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned something too about, I don't think the average person knows the depths that actors go to bring you the characters that they put on screen. You know, a lot of us, like you hear a lot of people like, man, I'm gonna be an actor, and you're like, you know, you're insulting actors, right? Like they study the stuff. They know how to dig into emotions. Like, you know, you might be able to, like, if you say for example, you're 50 Cent, well, you can play roles that are close to who you really are.
Right.
Right. You probably can't be James Brown.
Right. I mean, that was, listen.
So
I was tripping out when I saw, I was like, man, this dude's really killing this.
Yeah.
Like the voice, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like,
yo, think of the dancing alone.
Yeah, I was impressed. And I was like, yo, you gotta be kidding me.
Or to practice reacting to racism how you should in the 50s?
50s and 60s, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, our reaction to it is very different than how you would have to react in that time period. You know, I mean, the studying that's involved is just, you know, unbelievable. I mean, even if you hear about the pre-production for Black Panther, I don't know if any movie has ever had that kind of pre-production where they sent Ryan Coogler to, you know, Africa, all around to different countries to get a feel. Then they brought all the actors and production people there. And, you know, in my experience, I came from DreamWorks Animation. They did that for the white movies.
That's right. What you're saying is absolutely right. What they did was they treated this Black movie like they treat the white movies.
Right.
And as a result, they got $1 billion+ out of it. And you know, because they always say, oh, you know, $1 billion domestically, I want to say, right? They say, oh, you know, black movies don't travel internationally well. Black movies, oh, we don't know if it'll translate internationally. They do that. It's a thing.
And I'll tell you that's bullshit.
Right.
Because hip hop travels well. I mean, you go to France and there's graffiti everywhere. Right? I mean, everywhere you go, there's like hip hop graffiti. Koreans are some of the best breakdancers on earth right now.
Man, listen, they got K-pop trap music. You haven't heard it?
No, that was the look on my face was I tried to be an actor for a second and just have a very blank face. Like,
no, it's jamming though. Listen,
yeah.
When I watch anime, these guys are rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So our culture transfers well.
Always has.
The people who write the checks don't understand, don't care, or don't want to see it do well. Because that changes the whole entire scope of how they spend money.
And that's racism. That's the racism that we talk about where they don't think it's racism, it's not conscious, but for some reason they just decided to make a false narrative that black culture doesn't travel.
Right.
And I can see you saying comedies don't travel. Comedies don't do well in other countries. That makes sense to me. But outside of that.
So, as you guys were previously saying, Black Panther was this immense success with its effects traveled all around the world. Do you now think we will get more movies based on the formula that they used to make Black Panther? Well,
I'll put it like this. The formula they used to make Black Panther was very, very simple. Here's your budget. Go do it.
Right.
We trust you. You're not going to get that much anymore. Everything down from the Haiti to the colonizers to things like that, that is us. You can't talk to a white dude and say, hey, man, listen, we want to keep that Haiti. Well, it didn't test well. We don't give a shit.
Right.
Do you understand? Like if you look at Suicide Squad, right? The director of Suicide Squad worked with my cousin very closely. One of his complaints was that once they cut it all up and did all kind of crazy stuff, it wasn't his movie anymore because they were going by the testers. What I'm telling you is it literally looked like they said, okay, we need $100 million to make this movie. They said, all right. And we need you to back the hell up while we make it. They're like, all right. And that's what you got. That's what you got. I don't know if it's ever going to happen again.
I don't know either. You need a franchise big enough. You need a director that they believe in at that level. And right now, Ryan Coogler's the only guy I see out there that is getting that kind of love. Because the other guys that I could think of are just older.
Right.
And they've already had their shots. Like Antoine Fuqua, I could think of him getting a budget big enough like that, getting that kind of budget. But I don't know who else is out there.
I love Chirac. I love the idea of Chirac. I just wish it would have been executed better. So Spike Lee's out.
He's definitely out. I think he's definitely out. And I think the people that they did. I think the $100 million. The money they got for it. Was fought for. I think that there was like people fighting for it and advocating for it. And I think that somebody like I don't see it. I see smaller movies being done. I'm not sure if I see something of that magnitude anytime soon. Black. I don't know. I would love for it, but I don't know if that's happening.
They didn't give enough respect to Luke Cage. I thought he should have got a film. And then when they finally got a hold of the series, I don't think they didn't encompass the true nature of the comic book very much. It was good. It just wasn't great.
And
Did you like it? Did you like Luke Cage for real?
No. If you want me to be very honest,
yeah.
You want to be completely straight up honest with you, as much as I love, you understand, I love Luke Cage. Like you tell me, I know damn near the whole history back and forth. Because when he married Jessica Jones, they had the interracial relationship, had a new baby, you know what I'm saying? All this stuff. It's just they try to put, you could tell it was a 45 plus year old director.
I was really about to say that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It gave me hints of let me be black edutainment. Let me, you know what I'm saying, without being too self-righteous. And they were still playing the corporate game while simultaneously, I think they could have got more out of the actor. And just, I mean, they didn't give me what I expected.
I mean, when we worked on the Boondocks, all of us were a little bit older. All of us were probably in our 30s. So we had to be very conscious, and we knew that, right? So we all studied what people younger than us did and said,
right?
So that we didn't use terms that they don't use. And so when you watch Luke Cage, that's my big issue with it. It's just like, you're like, man, they're using terms from 1999. Like,
right.
People don't talk like that right now.
Right. I mean, yeah, they don't
even I don't talk like that anymore, but I could hear it was definitely dated. It was Harlem dated too, which was like, yo, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
From New York?
Brooklyn. L.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, I think somebody used the word jiggy in the show one time.
Yeah,
I was like, yo,
like who says that?
Like, that ain't jiggy. What did you say to me? So if you want me to be honest with you, the only thing I could
could you imagine if Luke Cage had been like at the realness of The Wire?
Right. The realness of The Wire with the budget of Thor in a film.
Right.
The realness of a Wire with the budget of Breaking Bad, or the budget, like, give us a chance. You filmed this on 3 blocks. The lady had the mechanical arm. I saw the plastic folding and shit. I was just, Misty Knight had the robot arm was folding, my guy. Okay? It just, sorry.
No, it's my understanding is that at the time of Luke Cage being made and filmed, Marvel Studios and Marvel Television were 2 completely separate entities. One was being head up by Kevin Feige. He was in charge of all the movies, and usually he gives directors their creative expression, while Jeff Loeb was the corporate side of that. He at Marvel Television, and then I know Kevin Feige, he went straight to Disney and said, "Hey, we need to separate," you know. And so that's how we got Marvel Television and Marvel Studios.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, keep going.
I was gonna say, you also could just have to look at the economics and the models of the feature film and Netflix. Netflix budgets are much bigger now than they were during Luke Cage. But again, you're talking about a subscription model that you can make something expensive and you don't really know if that's what brought you your subscribers, versus a film, which you know exactly what that bad boy did, and you know that you're about to release it in the theaters, then you're going to put it on planes and trains and such, and then when that bad boy hits home entertainment, that's when you really make the windfall of money.
Yep. But I mean, look, it just didn't hit. It felt like an episode of New York Undercover with, and plus, it felt like I think Luke Cage was out of Chicago at the time when he came back from the Power Man Slumber, and they placed him in New York, and so it was just too much New York Undercover, too much 90s living single kind of. It just gave me the colors, everything. Yeah. But Deborah did a great job. Deborah, I ended up she was a dope actor, so Deb did a great job.
I mean, I think the actors did what they were supposed to do. It was just written that way.
Right. And
again, it could be a function of budget.
Right. Also, Luke Cage didn't sound like some amazing Shakespeare actor. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to be bulletproof, and I am also going to, like, it didn't make sense.
Right.
And then when he tried to use slang,
I thought it was casted. I thought it was casted wrong. I didn't even like him as the main character, to be honest with you. I struggled through it, but I didn't dig it.
Yeah.
Well, physically, like you said before, he matched it. I say he's 6'4". He's a big dude. That's about the size of Luke Cage. But you're right. And I guess that's your trepidation with Lance. I think if Lance works hard enough, he can pull it off. But
he should have been darker, like Punisher.
Right. But he also they had him using slang, right? and he sounded like what's my man's name from the Jamie Foxx show, Braxton P. Hunterberg. He sounded like Braxton did in that movie Original Gangsters.
Mm-hmm.
How do you remember all this? How do you remember all this stuff?
I don't know.
How do you go back to your archives and remember all these small characters? You're bugging me out. So I'm like, yeah, this guy like Braxton.
Yeah.
Eric watched a lot of TV, man.
Yeah. TV's my
favorite. You know, cartoon. I was about to go in on Stockton, but I stopped.
Yeah. Stockton, California, represent. Noah, I want to let you know, I'm enjoying your hat, bro.
Oh, thank you.
You got the hat and the leather jacket combination.
He's so suave. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah.
Let's see the pants. Let's see the pants today. What are the pants today?
Oh man, you're gonna be disappointed. It's just black.
Let me see.
It's just black. I try to make myself look suave and try to manifest the black energy needed for today's program.
Younger dudes be looking fresh and clean. Old dudes, we look like we're about to go to the gym or Home Depot.
Like every day. I keep on telling, like, I had to get dressed to come to eat for this lunch meet I'm late for right now. But every day, this is my dress. I got a sweatshirt on. I was about to wear a wrinkled T-shirt this morning.
Exactly. You know the vibes, man.
Yeah.
I got this from Walmart. I'm just out here struggling.
Well, I think the good news for everybody and on this panel is, Marvel is going into a multiverse, with their upcoming projects. So I do think we will get a version of Black Panther, whether that'll be Lance, Trevante. I think Marvel will do justice to the character, in a graceful way, if nothing else. But I think Shuri's the outcome, because I think they kind of positioned her in that role in the films.
And man, I have so much faith in Ryan Coogler at this point that he's not gonna fail us. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's at that. Right. The dude's a special writer director, right. And he's that man right now. So
agreed.
Yeah. He's the kind of person who'll just walk off. You need a walk-off person. You know what I'm saying? Right. Mm-hmm. Somebody who believes in what they believe in and makes you and holds you to your word, to where you're like, you know what? I'm cool.
Yeah.
If it ain't right, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just hope that it is my hope that she can pull off the action scenes correctly. It is my hope. And I think she'll be able to do it. I mean, listen, a lot of it is CGI, you know what I'm saying? It's just I am hoping that she can pull it off.
Gal Gadot did a good job with Wonder Woman. So
she did a really good. I was shocked. You know who I wanted to be Wonder Woman?
Who?
The lady who played the special agent in Haywire. Have you seen the movie Haywire?
I think I did. That wasn't Ronda Rousey, was it?
No, it wasn't. She's a strong girl.
No, Eric, we haven't seen Haywire, Eric. Haywire. We're gonna watch it.
That's because Eric has all the streaming services. He's like, I got Peacock TV. You're like, what? who is Peacock TV? Who's CBS All Access? Who has that? Eric's streaming bills like $200 a month, dude.
Oh, Gina. She was a wrestler. Gina Carano.
Yeah,
I believe her name.
But if you look at Wonder Woman, the lady who played Terminator Salvation could have been Wonder Woman. She's 5'10". Have you seen the new Terminator Salvation? It's the latest Terminator.
It's on Peacock TV.
If you look at her, she's 6 foot. Look, Gal Gadot.
I know she is. She's the one from The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yes.
I think she could have played it, because she was doing them action scenes. That was good. But the way they lined Wonder Woman up, I really can't complain.
Yeah, Gail killed it. I mean,
that was the shining light in the DC universe. Everything else sucked.
You guys weren't here for Batman v Superman?
Bro, honestly, I like the Batmans, bro. I like.
God, you mean to tell me the only reason Superman didn't kill Batman or Batman didn't kill Superman because their mama's name was Martha? Martha, Andre?
I mean, want me to tell you why? Because Martha's a black name, and Superman's dad was named Jor-El or something like that. So, you know.
His name was Jor-El.
His real name,
Jor-El.
His dad's name, Jor-El.
It's Jor-El, but you're right. You're right.
All names from that planet, dude. So he was like, oh, that's like a name from my planet.
Yeah, even Jor-El. Yo, Jor-El. Go to the store and give me a pack of Lucy's.
Yo, I've never thought about that like that. Because Superman's name is Kal-El, right?
Right.
Kal-El. Kal-El.
With a K.
Kal-El, Kal-El, aka Khalil.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
a Muslim.
Yeah.
He was a Muslim. That's why he didn't eat no pork. His name was Khalil. That's what it
What
really
if Superman
was.
actually light skinned? What if Superman actually just light skinned?
Hey,
Well, there's a comic story where he is.
Come to his skin.
Well, yeah, the other comic book. There's a few different universes where there's 3 different Supermans. 2 of them are black, I believe, right?
Yeah.
The black Superman is the one black Superman where he's a super smart, super ridiculously intelligent dude, and he can control minds. And he's Superman, but he's like ridiculously smart in this other world. And then there's the other one, the fresh fade Superman.
There are 2 fresh fade Superman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah. Oh, dog. There's a black Superman for real.
Okay.
That's why
The Russian Superman.
Right. Michael B. Jordan. Well, there is a Russian Superman called the Red Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So yeah.
I think that's what Black Panther did. It after Black Panther, I think studios were more interested in hearing black stories, right? So Michael B. Jordan was said to have had meetings with DC about playing Black Superman. But it turns out those meetings were he's producing his own Static Shock movie.
Right.
But I think there's definitely a renewed interest.
They slept on the fact that we could actually move the needle in a big way. Like Eric said, how did you not believe this was going to be huge? You definitely weren't in tune with what's going on. Because that shit was huge. And we knew leading up, this is going to be big.
Yeah. 90 million views in 24 hours. How you not know?
How you not know?
I mean, Hollywood's bullshit, man, because it's like they'll do a French period piece, and it's like, we never lived in France. But no one has, right? But it'll be a success all over the world. So why can't there be, black movies that are fantasy pieces?
Dog.
Remember the shoot down. Like the hate was, this is a movie about a place that doesn't exist and it's not even real. And, and I was like, wait a second. Most places in the universe, in the Marvel, and all these don't really exist anyway. So why do you have a problem with this one? That's what I go, you know what? This is gonna be huge.
Yeah,
like, show me a spaceship then, motherfucker.
Right. Show me Valhalla. You know what I'm saying? Show me Thor's world.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
My thing is, I was never a fan of Thor in the comic books. Never. The movie made me a fan of Thor. That casting, that movie made me a fan of Thor. I was never an Iron Man fan. I didn't give a shit about Iron Man until I saw the Iron Man movie. And that's when I was like, I like this. So they can easily get you to build around. Now, what I'm really interested in, Noah, because you were talking about more black stories, is Captain Marvel is a black woman eventually after killing her. And so the little girl that was in the movie Captain Marvel ends up being Captain Marvel.
Well, I have some good news for you.
Yeah.
They cast Tiana Parrish. She was in Chirac in the new Disney Plus series WandaVision as that older character, Monica Rambeau.
Okay.
I got a lot of TV to watch. This shit is crazy.
The streaming game, bro. You gotta,
Hey, if you haven't watched The Boys, Taye, that's the first thing you need to watch.
I watched it. I think that's a great take on the tragedy of superheroes. I think that's awesome. I watched every single episode. I love The Boys. I wish it was
Both seasons?
Yeah, both seasons. Yes.
Man, that thing is amazing.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? So for me, like Thor, even reading the comic book Thor as a young kid, my first introduction to a god of thunder and lightning was this guy named Shango, which is a traditional god. So when I saw Thor, he was always weak to me, like always weak to me. Like he's like even in the movies, like he's not the real fucking god. He's a semi demi whatever. But that's what's crazy. It's crazy how your first interaction with a superhero or a god or your understanding of it actually, you know, kind of informs how you move forward. Like you said, your first interaction with comic books was a black comic, and I think that's important. My first interaction with black comics, Eric, was after I was reading all of these comics, and I used to keep comic books. My mother was like, "Nah, my father was like, nah, we gotta get some black people," because all the black people in the comic books were usually soft, like Storm, who was powerful African superhero, was always the one that was always tapping out after she used her powers a little bit. So my father and mother were well aware, like, yo, nah, fuck the shit. We're gonna get you somebody else. We gotta get you find you some people. You know what I mean?
Right. So you already know. I remember I had a Black Panther comic book, and but I was still in the cage, and this is during the iteration where Black Panther had a cape, right? And I was like, and I love Batman. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was there for the Jason Todd death, all that. I'm like, this ain't nothing but Batman. I didn't even open it. He looked so much like Batman. This is Marvel's Batman. But, I got like Spawn #3 signed by Todd McFarlane.
I love Spawn.
And like Spawn was that dude. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's just, and that's what I'm going to pass down for the next generation. Like, look, because representation matters. It really matters. It just matters. So, any other question though?
Well, we're nearing the end of the time, so I just have do you guys have any last few thoughts that you want to go out on?
I'm gonna go first. Got the jump. Like you said, representation is important. We need some wins. I'm praying the transition is awesome. I have faith that it's going to be awesome. And no matter what, we need to get out there and show them that we do this. We consume movies. We are especially interested in our storylines, if nothing else. I'm adding a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and thinking about Lovecraft Country in this time and the end of it.
Yeah.
So I won't put it out there. But if you think about the end of Lovecraft Country and how that ended, and I'm not gonna say anything about the ending. Actually, I think about it. Killmonger is even more perfect in terms of his role in a movie like Black Panther, and you have to watch the end of it to see why. But Killmonger makes sense on the tail end of something of that piece of that series.
Yeah, and all I just say, I just hope we can continue to get these kind of budgets to do these films, and maybe not as big as Black Panther, but we should get the same budgets white directors get. Simple and plain. Because our movies, Friday was one of the most. At one point, it was the 6th most profitable film in the history of films. So black films make money.
Yeah. My closing thing is, man, I'm first and foremost, I'm honored that you chose us. Thank you very much. But I want to say that, like we said again, representation matters. And the fact that two guys sitting on a porch and their hijinks about what happened during their day in Los Angeles is one of the most profitable films says a lot. You know what I'm saying? It says a lot. I don't know if it says a lot about the guy who wrote it, but it says a lot about moving forward and making sure that they treat us sincerely and seriously, because we've done it over and over again, from Waiting to Exhale to Friday to now you see Black Panther, and there's a whole bunch of other examples. So thank you very much, man, and hopefully they make my Luke Cage movie.
All right, thank you. And if you want to see these gentlemen, please watch The World According to Eric on Southside Dash Radio on Mondays 4 to 7. You can catch Taye at Sweatshop Boxing, right? And please make sure you stand. And thank you for participating in the panel at Afro Comic Con Virtual 2020 event. And thank you all for joining us. Please consider once again to donating to the Afro Comic Con /Moonshot Junior program. It goes on to fund so amazing things It goes on to fund women who learn tech, skills, innovation, product development, and entrepreneurship. So please remember to click the donation link. Any amount will help. More information will be on the website.
But real
Thank
quick,
you.
on the thought of giving too, you don't have to be give big dollars to be a philanthropist. Give $5-10 if that's all you have, and if that's all you want to do, it helps.
Thank you. Exactly right. So thank you all for joining us today.
Hey, good luck in your meeting, Ty. Peace out, y'all.